everybody. Welcome back to Ginger Flix. I'm Joey.
I'm Josh.
And we have two very special guests with us today. We have Dwen Noronha.
Hello.
And Dave the Kid at Words. How you doing,
What's up?
Dave?
What's
How you
up,
doing,
everybody?
Dwen?
What's up, guys? It's nice to be
Good.
back.
Oh, yeah.
It is good to be back.
Dwen's probably a little bit more content with the movies we asked him to do this time around.
Content or disappointed?
Maybe both.
Again, just seeing the movies you have watched prior to my last visit and since my last visit, there's clearly a case for you guys just being mean for the sake of being mean.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Are you saying you didn't enjoy watching Artemis Fowl?
Oh, no. Enjoy. Such a nice word to use for such a terrible movie.
I finally finished it the other day.
He finally knows what happens at the end.
Yeah, and I still didn't care.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. So, Josh, what movies did we watch? Because we did watch two movies this time around.
Well, so for those of you listening in, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode. This is going to be similar to one we did with Kid, actually, a few months ago. So we're doing a comparison video kind of between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. The 1-2 punch of the MCU.
Oh, yeah. So just to dive right in, let's start with Infinity War.
Jive?
I said dive.
You
I
said
heard jive.
I heard
too.
jive.
I heard
Jive too.
It could be my speakers. I don't know.
It's
No.
cool.
All three of us heard
Yeah.
that? Come on.
Maybe all three of
And-
your speakers are broken? I
And
don't
it's,
know.
and it's not
dance.
unlike Joe to drop some 20s slang in there out of nowhere. So
More like 1930s. Thank you very much.
You're a wise guy, huh?
Let me tell you there, fella.
yeah.
All
All right, so we're driving right in.
We're going to jive right in.
Yeah.
With Infinity War, that movie is an all-out brawl for most of it. It starts and it just gets going, and I don't think they put on the brake pedal till about the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much. The pacing is literally a 2.5 hour just adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Like,
Which, in comparison to Endgame, is the opposite.
well, I mean, yeah, I think that's what it is, right? That's if we're looking at I think if you're going pros and cons between the two, in my opinion, I think Infinity War, it doesn't really lull. Like there are some emotional moments, when Thanos grabs Gamora, or like, of course at the end, when everything goes down. But even moments between like Wanda and Vision and stuff like that. But it doesn't slow the movie down. Like it doesn't completely halt the pace. Whereas you're watching Endgame, and that movie's 3 hours, and it feels like 3 hours sometimes. Like you can watch a 3-hour movie. Sometimes you watch like a Lord of the Rings, like Two Towers or something, and that's like a 3-hour movie, but it doesn't feel like it because it just keeps going. Where for me, like Endgame, it has that time travel moment where you're like, let's keep going. Like, yeah, like did that part need to be in there kind of thing? But that's one of the few pros and cons, I think, between the two movies. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, what do you guys say about it?
For Infinity War?
Well, if you want to jive the two of them.
Oh, we're gonna lean hard into this, aren't we?
I'm
excited.
Jive and wail all over that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like for me, I think Infinity War was a good setup film for Endgame. I wouldn't complain too much about it. I don't know. I guess I'm being biased because like I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Like when I saw it, as soon as the movie started, I was glued to it. So like I was just invested like so much into the movie that like it's hard for me to say something bad about it, I probably have to watch it like maybe 5 more times just to catch. Just
to find something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Just
to
find
be
something you
honest,
don't like.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's like
Tom Holland. I don't like that guy.
We're rocking the wrong shirts for that.
I know.
well, like, to be honest, just watching it, I mean, watching the movies in the theaters and even watching them like for fun, no, they're great movies, both of them. But it's like watching it for the purpose of this podcast. I'm like, I had to purposely look for something at fault with these movies. And but even seeing it in theaters, like, you know, when Endgame finished, the whole world was like in awe of this film. But I even in the theaters, I still felt like the pacing, it got a little long, just in the middle, for me.
Yeah, I mean, the movie goes through, like, Endgame does go through a lot of lulls, but it's a much more obviously character-driven movie, and it's like it's the continuation of Thanos' story. Like, Infinity War is more of a Thanos story than anything else. Like, he is the hero of that movie.
He is. It's true. That's a big thing.
I think that's the main difference between the two movies, though, is that Infinity War is a Thanos. You could name that movie Thanos, and that would be his film. You learn about like why he's doing what he's doing. You learn about like all the different things that is bringing to him together, how he feels about certain characters and where they all fit in. Endgame is an Avengers movie, and Endgame is very much a thank you for watching being on the ride this whole way through. Like when I remember seeing that in theaters and going, this feels like if this was a TV show, this would be a series finale. Like they've gone back and hit, you know, there's all these little points in the movie where they're like they're going outside of the time travel. There's all these little points in the movie where they're going back to things they did in other movies. Yeah. And you would only catch if you watched those other movies. Even something at the end as simple as like when they find the van with the time travel machine in it, and Ant-Man jumps in and he's like, it doesn't work. I gotta hotwire it. Well, yeah, okay, you know that now because in Ant-Man 1, he was a criminal. He would know how to do that instinctively. You know? So there's I think that's the thing. I think Endgame, the lulls are really just like kind of, some of the lulls are like thank yous, you know, like little thank yous to be like, hey, you know, you came on this journey with us. And I think the other part of it is like now I watched it again for the first time since theaters this morning. Really? And I was like, yeah, I watched it once. I loved it. I was like, okay, I'm good.
I'll be honest, I'm the same with specifically with Endgame. I was like, this to me didn't need a second watch.
Oh, I've watched it a few times.
Like what Dwen said, it is a thank you movie.
Yeah,
like, that's what it is. Like even like at the end when like everybody showed up.
Yeah,
it's like everyone that the Avengers met in the last 10 years in the making of this entire franchise. Everybody.
The kid from Iron Man 2 showed up. Like nobody even knew who he was when he
Iron Man 3.
3.
Yeah. Except for Lady Sif.
Yeah.
She got.
But she got killed. She got killed, didn't she?
No, man.
No, Lady Sif.
Lady Sif is like the only character that kind of like disappeared.
No, but didn't she die in Thor 2?
No.
Thor Dark World? I don't think she died.
She was in Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
And she shows up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like
right, I remember that. Yeah.
But no, then you never see her again. She never died.
They kind of just phased her out of existence.
Her contract was up.
She's the only one. She's the only one that didn't come back after the snap.
Yeah, she'll probably be back. I mean, she'll probably end up in the Jane Thor movies that are
the
coming
new
out.
Thor.
Yeah.
But
also, that's the other thing. So watching it back now, though, like there's little things where I'm like, you know what, the story's over for like the main Avengers, and that's the other thing. Like once the snap happens, all the Avengers that are remaining are the original core, right? Like it's not any of the new guys.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So
because War Machine is like.
He was there.
He was
the only one that wasn't an original Avenger was Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket. Captain Marvel, Rocket,
Nebula.
Scarlet Witch.
Well, Captain Marvel was like,
No,
I'm
Scarlet
in the
Witch
beginning.
didn't pass.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
didn't she didn't get past the snap.
Well, like Captain Marvel, she was like, I'm in the beginning of the movie. I'm in somewhat beginning of the movie. Now I'm at the end of the movie. So like,
That's the way you want to do it, though, right? You show up, you do your thing. You're like, look, there are other planets I got to take care of. I'll come back, and I came back.
I think they couldn't
It's like,
afford
hey,
to keep
Earth,
Brie
you got
Larson
your
on
own
set that long.
problems.
I think they shot those concurrently. I have a feeling they shot those ones.
It was something like that because the first thing I believe she filmed, and don't quote me on it, is the end scene of Captain Marvel.
Right.
Like she filmed that first, and she had no idea who she was even talking to because they weren't actually there. And then I think she filmed Endgame, and then she filmed like Captain Marvel. It was like a crazy flip flop for her.
Well,
like she came on and was just like, okay, say these words, and she's like, okay. Like she had no idea because they wouldn't tell her.
Have you guys ever watched the Chef Show on Netflix?
Yes, the one with Jon Favreau, where he basically he goes around town with the guy is it
the guy he made chef with, who trained him for chef.
Roy Choi is the name of the chef that he works with. I was trying to think for a second.
Yeah.
I was thinking of another chef, but anyways, so him and Roy Choi sort of go around in the food truck, I guess they had for Jon Favreau's movie Chef, and they just cook meals with celebrities and stuff. So isn't there one episode like Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah.
And she couldn't remember which movies she was in.
She actually can't remember. She's like, they talk about something and he's like, oh, Spider-Man. And she's like, I was never in Spider-Man. He's like, yeah, you were. They shoot so many of these concurrently that she was like, was I in Spider-Man?
He's like, yeah, you're in Spider-Man.
And if you watch Homecoming, she's like number 3 on the bill. She's barely in it, but she's number 3 in the bill.
Yeah, it's literally like Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
She's in it for like the press conference.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like she gets higher billing than Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. But
did Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
No, I don't think she gets higher than Michael Keaton.
But I just mean to that point, you see, like they shoot so many of these concurrently that you can see how, like a Brie Larson will be like, what am I in today? You know? Like,
yeah. Which one is this for? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all in all, like a lot of the movie just sort of both of these movies, it makes you wonder on what Thanos' plan, whether or not it's actually, good or is it terrible? Like that's the real question that goes.
It's I believe it's like the what needs to be done.
I remember I got Tash really upset about this once in a conversation.
Oh no.
Yeah, Joe is always on the Thanos was right side of things. But Joe also wants to make America great again. So I don't know which is going to go.
I think you might be confusing your Joes again.
I see red on the top of your head. I think that's
fair enough.
I think it's weird. Like nowadays, people, nowadays you can't be just that. Like, okay, so obviously we talked about how Infinity War is Thanos' movie, Endgame is the Avengers movie, right? Like
right.
Thanos is the protagonist almost in his film, and a lot of times people nowadays, you need a villain to almost be justified in their actions, as opposed to just being like a maniacal, I'm going to destroy everybody, right? Like, people don't like that anymore.
The original Lex Luthor doesn't fly anymore as a villain.
Yeah, like just, I'm going to take over the world, or I'm going to... And that's the thing. So Thanos in Infinity War he's not killing everybody. He's doing what he thinks is right. He's going to, reshape the universe, take away half of everybody.
He's all about balance.
But in his mind, he's saving everybody. Where in Endgame, he really is like almost an old school villain, because he flat out says, nope, I'm going to kill everybody. And it's like all the character stuff that was given to him in the first movie is kind of lost in Endgame, because it's not really about him anymore. Like he gets killed at the beginning and then he gets brought back at the end. Yeah.
And
Well,
I think
I kind of like how they set that up in the second movie because like when they went and find him, and I'm sitting in
Mhm.
theaters, I'm like, oh shit, we're getting into this already. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
And like they find him, and then like when you said like the gems are reduced to atoms, like they're done, like you can't use them anymore. And then Thor kills him. I'm like, well, shit, right? Like it like you.
Where do
like,
we go
I
from
felt,
here?
Yeah, like I felt that energy in the theater. Like everybody was sitting there was like,
Yeah.
well,
When
shit.
it went
And then
like
they say
5
years later, I was like, well, double shit. Like,
they did.
holy crap.
There was a straight up audible gasp in our theater
Yeah.
when Thor cut his head off. But it was so funny watching the movies together today. In Infinity War, Gamora sees Thor. She sees Thanos, and she stabs him. And you see like Peter Quill in the background, like Star-Lord, just going, "Well, that was quick."
Yeah.
And then the whole movie moves from there, and you're like, that exact scene happened in the second movie, and it was quick.
Yeah.
You're like, it's over.
Yeah. It was funny too because, well, not funny. I should say, what sucked is I saw Infinity War twice in the theaters. I know, Joe, you and I saw it the second time for me, but
Right.
I only got to see Endgame once in the theaters, just because it's usually around the time when I'm working crazy and I don't have a lot of you know. But the thing is, I had this one obnoxious guy in the theater who would laugh like he must have, I feel like the guy saw it already, so he laughed way too early for jokes. You know, it's like
I apologize to you about that after the screening. You son
That
of a
was
bitch.
that was
okay,
that was
but it's
both.
like-
It wasn't one. It was both of us. We were doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
but he also laughed at moments that weren't meant to be funny.
Yeah, that was me.
Because
That was
yeah,
my line.
Yeah.
no, and there's like a difference between like awkward humor or whatever. Like, I get some people find things funny that aren't, and then some things are funny that aren't meant to be funny.
Right.
And then that kind of like like when you watch a bad movie and it's so funny because it's bad, right? But like for example, talking about the Thor cutting off Thanos' head, that was not a funny moment. And they literally are like, "What did you do?" And he says, "I went for the head." And this dude in front of me bursts out laughing. And I was like, dude, this is not like a throw. Yeah, and I was like, dude, this is not like a throwback joke to the first movie. This was a dark moment.
I wish that guy went on like, oh my god, he went for the head. Guys, he went for the head. Remember in the first movie?
Exactly.
He just looks back. He's just like laughing so hard you can't even speak. He's like,
It's like Josh is just like, guys, I don't think that's it. And he's like, no, you don't get it. The head.
You don't even know. Like, you remember that last movie? Like, just when the throttle, or it's like the ostrich, right? Like Family Guy, like, haha,
Or that other guy in Family. Oh, he's funny. Oh, yes, he's funny because he's true.
oh, he has no head. Yeah. So to be honest, whatever. That's the one I really remember when he did that. But that same dude kept doing it like throughout the movie, and I was like slowly just felt myself eye twitching.
Okay, you know how people said like when they watched Endgame and they said it was like a 3.5 hour long movie, and people came out and said you don't even feel the 3 hours. I think with a guy like that watching the movie with you, that's where you feel the 3 hours.
Oh,
Because
totally.
you're just like, you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like when you have someone, like when you go watch a movie and there's someone who's already seen it, and then they say to you,
Oh,
yo,
check this
check out this part. Wait, yo, this is the best part. And you look at them, and then the part happens, and you miss it because they told you to watch it, and you're like, I hate you.
Hey, they told you to look at the best part, not look at them. That's on you.
But
man.
it's like, yo, what? Oh,
Okay, you know what?
I used to do that to him a lot when we were kids.
I have to admit,
we know people that were like that.
I have to
That
admit,
too.
I'm kind of like that person only for action movies. Because I did, because like
That's why, Steve. That's why we don't go to action movies with you anymore.
that's
we
all
only go for Sonic the Hedgehog, and we may not do that ever again either.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
Oh god, please don't remind me.
And it's not because we didn't like the movie.
Oh,
That's
we
the
love the
worst
movie.
thing.
Yeah, there was no
The movie
problems
was
with the
great.
movie.
It's
Yeah.
what happened in the theaters in the movie. Certain people decide to pick fight with children.
Uh, wow. Okay. We've
Dave
lost
is
Dave.
done.
Kid
We've
is
lost
done.
I'm
Done.
sorry.
We're gonna
We really
cut you
shouldn't
off
be
for a
doing these
minute.
inside jokes.
I'm
I will
sorry.
say, I will say that moment was pre-Karen, before Karen was a term.
Yeah.
Karen's been a term for like too long.
No, but that shit would have gotten us into that shit would have gotten us online
that's the most-
100%.
Oh,
That's a
totally.
all-star
Yeah.
hip hop
Oh,
video
totally.
in the
Oh my
making.
goodness.
Um,
If only one of us had our phones out, right?
Yeah.
but going back to like some of these comparisons, I mean, again, I just kind of watched the two of these movies. I didn't watch them like straight through. I've been watching them kind of throughout the week, and it's
So
like
what? You like take like a half-hour chunk and just watch it through the week? Like,
He's
Pretty
watching
much.
it like it's a sitcom.
no, dude, I'm like, honestly, I watch them in bed. It's like I'm getting ready to sleep. I'm on my iPad. Boom, like. But it's funny. I think that,
pleasure
in my
yourself?
opinion,
is that what's happening?
oh, you'll never know. But
No,
I
we
think
will.
that Endgame has more of like the wow moments. Like I remember being in the theater and like everybody, when Cap picks up Thor's hammer,
Mhm.
like that was the best moment of the film. Like everybody just was like, "What? Oh, you know what? That was another one. That was another moment." Yeah. Like, no, you know what it was? It was when Thor's like, "I knew it," and the guy's like, "Bah!" And I was like, "It's not funny. Like, it's awesome, but it's not funny."
I was about to ask you that, Josh.
Yeah, that was the other one. Because Thor's like, "What?" He's like, "Buddy, oh, I knew it," and then the guy's like,
But he couldn't touch the hammer.
"You remember? Yeah, I remember he couldn't pick it up, but did he? He could pick it up." You're like, that's when I had to pull out and be like, "Dude, just," I smothered him a little, just was like,
Oh God.
but like that moment though, really, I mean, I think anybody who saw it, everyone like would have like left their seat.
Everyone.
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
lost it.
And
When he
much
throws it. No, go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm just saying, much to your friend in front of you's love for that scene. Like, that's another. You know what? I actually, once when that happened, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. But I completely forgot about the scene in Avengers 2 where he like goes to pick it up and he can't
kinda-
almost.
Yeah,
Mhm. He shifts it like just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. And Thor's face changes. He's like, this party trick of mine is gone.
the only person who wasn't surprised by that was my parents, because when that happened and like me and my cousin lost our shit, and my mom turned to me, he's like, "Why is everyone getting excited?"
Your mom's
But
like, he's
Yeah,
Captain
she-
America.
we
Of
only
course he
saw-
can lift
she-
the hammer.
my,
But
mom,
what's
my mom only saw Black Panther, and then Infinity War because Black Panther was in it, and Endgame because Black Panther came back.
makes sense.
Your
Makes
mom's a
sense.
Black Panther stan.
Is your mom Tash? Like, I feel like that's something.
No, because like my mom was never into these movies. So,
No, I
like,
know your
when-
mom's not into these movies.
So when Black Panther was coming out, right? I asked my mom, I was like, "Hey mom, you want to come with me to see Black Panther?" She didn't even see like a review, a picture, or whatever. She just goes and says, "No, that sounds like a scary movie." And then luckily it was like on TV. I'm like, "No, mom, that's Black Panther." She's like, "Oh, it's an all black cast? Okay, I'll go watch it." I'm like,
Nice.
I'm like, "Mom, they could have just put Tyler Perry's Black Panther."
Oh
mom
my
would still
God.
see it.
Your mom would have been first in line to that.
Nah, it would be like Tyler
Surprise,
Perry's
surprise, Dave. That's
Dare
the
Goes
movie
to
for next
Wakanda.
summer.
You really have three options there. It could have been either a documentary about the Black Panthers, Marvel's Black Panther, Medea's Black Panther. Like, you only had three options of
No,
what that could
Medea
have been.
goes to Black
Okay,
Panther.
wait,
The only
which,
difference, it would
Dwen,
be-
I have to ask, which
Yeah.
Black Panthers though? The animals or the the group from?
No, the group.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then that makes it 4, because then
Well, a movie
you have
about
a
a movie about regular Black Panthers would probably be on like Nat
Well,
Geo or something.
it
Like,
wouldn't
It's
be
still a
called,
good movie. It still would be a good movie.
but it wouldn't be called Black Panthers if it was about the animal. It'd just be
Yeah.
called Panthers. Huh?
fair enough. Fair enough.
Also, if it was a Tyler Perry one, it'd be Medea Goes to Wakanda. Like it wouldn't be like.
No, they'll still call it Medea Goes to Black Panther.
I do have a question. I do have a question about Wakanda though. While watching this movie, I was like, okay, these guys have like the best of everything, and I fucking love the line where she's like, when we opened it up to the world, I really thought we'd have like a Starbucks or something. This was not what I was thinking about.
This is not what I was
But, like,
expecting.
All that scientific progress, no one's made a tank. Like, what?
Yes. You know what?
Where
We
were
talked
the
about
rhinos?
this. We talked about this actually, Dwen, when we did an episode with Joe Bonzu about Black Panther, and that's what I said. I was like, how do they have these flying machines made out of vibranium, but yet they have to train rhinos? Like,
I'm down with train. No, I have no problems with training the rhinos. That's cool. I'm still cool with that. But just a tank would have been nice.
Question is, where were the rhinos? Like, were the Rhino tribe actually being punished for the actions of their leader in Black Panther?
That does
Because
tend
they
to
weren't
happen.
there.
We've been punishing Germans for a long time. I mean, we can't really. That could have happened.
oh dear.
It's a fair point.
No.
Yeah.
Never thought about it like that.
Oh no. Oh, sweet fancy.
They had to
Moses.
answer for their actions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I broke something. I also really like the one line in afterwards where she's fighting everybody and Elizabeth Olsen's character comes down and like beats. It's an Endgame, and she like destroys this whole thing
No,
in
it
front
was
of
in
her.
Infinity War. It's like it's in the final battle.
Oh, sorry, it is
War.
Infinity
Yeah.
War. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Olsen comes down and breaks everything, and she's just like, "Well, why did she get to be up there the whole time?"
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
we kept her up there.
I was like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
She's the most powerful of all of
Yeah.
us. What is she doing there?
Well, okay, yeah. So I mean, looking for a little bit of plot holes, I was like, they totally in Infinity War. I felt like Vision was completely underused. You know, he
Yeah,
had
he was
like
underused.
he had his whole Ultron was basically about creating Vision kind of thing, or
Right.
that was a big part of it. In Civil War, he does a little bit. He draws a line in the sand, and then he ends up paralyzing Rhodey. And then in Infinity War, he just does nothing. Like he gets
Lays
stabbed
there
a
the whole
bunch
movie.
of times.
I can't say anybody left the theater going, you know what? Not enough Vision. I'm not coming back for Endgame.
No, but no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And that's the thing. And then I felt with Endgame, Hulk was like so underused.
I fucking loved Hulk in Endgame.
I
thought
thought he was good in Endgame.
Like I like the character, but
You
it's
wanted
like,
more smashing, didn't you?
when you have the Hulk in a giant battle, you want to see him smashed.
but you,
But
That's
he's
true.
running
They
with
went,
like one good arm.
they went and destroyed his one good arm.
yeah, but I think like that was the thing. It was just I loved what I loved about this like Endgame especially was just like they went through these little character arcs where they, especially when they go back to Avengers 1, right? Where they're just like, you know, Captain America, I can't remember. He says I can't remember what the line is, but he says something.
That's America's ass.
No, not that one. No, he says something like
He says, "I can do this all day."
yeah, I can do this all day. And
Like,
like
I know.
and 2017 Chris or whatever current day Captain America's like, oh, that's just so lame. Like,
It's
you
like,
know,
I know that.
yeah,
It's funny. It's lame in that context.
yeah.
But like when I watch Civil War, like he says that to Tony, and
Yeah.
he's like bleeding,
Yeah.
and it is not lame at
Oh no,
all.
no, and that's the thing. I think like what's nice about it is they went back and they're like, okay, these movies, like when they first came out, you wanted to see comic book Captain America, you wanted to see comic book Iron Man, you wanted to see, you know, what you saw as a kid. And then like as the movies have progressed, they've thrown in a little bit of Chris Evans and a little bit of Robert Downey Jr. and all of their like actual personalities in there. Like there's like even Hulk, like when they get there, when they get to like
And he's like
2014,
smashing.
and then they're like, he has to do it. He's like, oh yeah, smash. Yeah. He's just like, I've grown up so much since then. Stop making like,
yeah. No,
and maybe
true.
smash a few things. Oh, come on, do I have to?
yeah. Even Thor's mom, where she's just like, is something wrong with your eye? And he's like, oh no, I just I got into a thing, and she's like, you're from the future, right?
But you know what? It's like, it's funny because I felt like Thor, Fat Thor, I thought the joke went on a little too long for me. Like, what's in my blood? Cheese whiz. Like, it just went on so long. But then they get to that moment where he finally talks to his mom and he's like breaking down.
Yeah.
And you're like, snap. Like, that was good. Like, I really
that moment actually got me.
That moment's huge, right?
And especially the fact that he's...
I think that's why they kept the joke running for so long, for that moment, because like you got to think, like, it's not just what he lost in Infinity War, it's what Thor lost in general. He lost his mom first, then he lost his dad, then he lost his kingdom, he lost his people to Thanos,
he loses the hammer.
And loses the hammer
to his
best friend.
And then loses his friend, and then after that, like,
his brother.
Thanos like kills half of the people. So like he felt like he failed so much that like what's the point? And then he became like this drunken gamer.
I didn't notice the I didn't notice
Dave?
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it in theaters, maybe because I was just sort of in awe of being in the theater watching a movie at the time. But like when he waits to get when he pulls his hand out to get the hammer, when he gets it, like he sort of mutters to himself. He's just like, I guess I'm still worthy, like
yeah.
It just shows like his level of self-confidence is so low at that point. Even right before that, like Rocket gives him the talk and he's just like, I know you lost your mother and that like all of us lost somebody, but like we have a chance of bringing them back, and that's what you can do to like help us out, right?
Yeah. I think the reason why, the whole reason why Thor feels the way he does is not because of what he lost, it's because what he didn't stop. Because he was the one, like the Infinity Gauntlet couldn't stop Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
When he throws Stormbreaker, like it's getting a full blast from the Gauntlet with all 6 stones, and it doesn't stop it. But he doesn't finish the job before Thanos gets the snap in. And then so it's not necessarily that he lost someone. It's the fact that he feels personally that he failed the universe. So it's like,
well, I guess that's why he questions his worthiness, which is what makes that little, like, I guess, Easter egg, so to speak, of when he gets his hammer back, that much more important, because Thor as a character right now, he's in a very dark place. He does not feel that he is worthy to lead what's left of Asgard.
Yeah.
So that's why he has,
and
gone into this like drunken stupor, so to speak.
And I think the not being able to beat Thanos is just what breaks him. Like, you've been going on this journey with him of him losing all these people and sort of, breaking apart from being the god of Asgard or whatever. Like, he's so much more. Before this, he's like a god. And now at a certain point, he's failing and sort of becoming human at the end of it. He doesn't know kind of what to do. Even now, Asgard is just like a little city in Norway or something, right?
It's the city that everybody lives in Iceland in Eurovision.
You know what I did like though is that when he did get his confidence back and he got like the hammer and everything, he still was like Fat Thor. Like, he did that. It had nothing to do with him being like buff and built and whatever. He was just like, he just needed his confidence back, and that's hopefully he stays that way now.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted a Rocky montage of him training.
No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in Volume 3.
Yeah, that's a Guardians thing for sure. That you can throw. You can even put that song in there.
Or in Love and Thunder or something like that. He's gonna need to get in shape to face Christian Bale.
Batman?
Oh yeah.
Christian Bale's the villain for Thor: Love and Thunder, so it's like, you got to step your game up.
Is he Adam Warlock?
No, I I don't honestly. I don't read a lot of Marvel comics, but I think I heard something that he's playing. It's like the God Killer or something like that. It's supposed to be like maybe Thor's uncle. That's like.
Oh,
I think Adam's supposed to be like super young.
Adam Warlock is supposed to be in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they've been saying it for like however long, but I think they teased him at the end of Volume 2, right?
yeah.
Well, looking at Thor: Love and Thunder's IMDb page, Christian Bale's character is not listed.
Yeah, because
so they're not saying what he is yet. But
Batman.
Again, production on all these, he might be dead.
Disney's just waiting to sign the paperwork.
Desperate.
Just waiting to sign the paperwork on buying them.
He just goes in, takes Stormbreaker, be like, I'm Batman, gone.
Wasn't there like an issue in the comics where they did like a crazy crossover and Superman ends up being able to lift the hammer too?
There was a JLA Avengers crossover.
Yeah.
And, it had to do with I can't remember if they had to find, like the DC characters had to find, I guess, like the Infinity Gems in the Marvel universe, and then the Marvel characters had to find certain elements in DC, and they had to do it like before the other, whatever. And it was people pulling the strings, and they fought. Like Superman did fight Thor, and I think he beat him actually. Like Thor hits him with the hammer, and Superman like catches it. It's pretty awesome, but the final issue is the cover is Superman holding Captain America's shield and Mjolnir in the other hand.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like what Cap does in Endgame.
Yeah, and he's doing it, and then at the end, after the battle's over, like everyone teamed up, fought, whatever, he tries to lift it again, and he can't, and Thor's like, the Mjolnir will only be lifted by certain people, like under extreme circumstances or something like that. Nah.
That's a cop out. See?
It just doesn't jive the right way, you know what I mean? Like...
we need a Joey shirt that just says jive.
Jive turkey.
Am I dressed as a turkey?
No, just
your face.
If we must.
It's just
what it is, jive turkey.
I will get a turkey costume if I must.
It just sounds like you've been waiting to buy a turkey costume, and this is the reasoning has finally come into your life.
You.
Yeah.
This is my chance. This is my chance.
I get dressed like a turkey every day.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
Gobble, gobble, bitch.
Next. Avengers 5. Gobble, gobble.
Out on Thanksgiving.
All right, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Or
I had two things right at the end, which were kind of nothing stuff, but old Steve Rogers kind of looks like Joe Biden.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
my God.
He does. Yes, he does.
Can you look up the IMDb credits right now?
Oh yeah, lo and behold, old Steve Rogers is in fact played by Joe Biden.
I'm pretty sure Obama was
Obama's like, I want to be War Machine.
No, he's Captain America. He's
there you go.
Captain Falcon America.
I really want there's a scene in the fight scene where Rocket's talking to Winter Soldier, and he's like,
how much for the arm?
How much for the gun? And then he's like, how much for the arm? And he walks away and he's like, I'm gonna get that arm. I really hope that happens in the TV show.
That would be so good.
Her scene is like him without the arm. It's like, what about you, raccoon? Like,
no, not even. He's like literally searching his bedroom for his arm.
Where did I put it?
I was like, what the hell is this?
Where did I put it?
And here's Rocket like swinging it in the air.
Yeah. Rocket comes up and he's like, come and get me, bitch!
Try to catch me, bitch!
Just like backhands him with the arm.
And then Submariner shows up and hits him with the lobster and be like, "You got crabs, ass face."
And then all of the characters from Clone High just show up.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they're the new Avengers team. What?
All right, that's a good drawing. I'm gonna keep that.
Would be the next like
Submariner
Captain.
saying, "You got crabs, ass face."
Yes, yes.
You got crabs, ass face.
I'll do that one for you, Dave, for sure.
Gandhi shows up, takes the
yeah.
Falcon.
Another one thing I wanted to talk about too was the whole time travel like explanation conversation that they had.
Yeah,
was so good because they went on all this stuff and he's like, well, yeah, you know, if you follow the rules of time travel, you know, like with all the time travel movies, you know, Back to the Future, and then he starts spinning them off, and then
Time Machine.
yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine, and the best part is like after you know,
Bruce.
Hulk and Bruce and Nebula basically explained, no, that's not how time travel works at all. Like, just because you change something in the past does not change the future. And they like do the full explanation of it. And Paul Rudd, you know, Ant-Man's just response right at the end of that scene is like, so you mean to tell me Back to the Future is just a bunch of bullshit?
I know. It was so good.
I had forgotten about Ant-Man's insane love for Captain America. Like throughout the whole
like,
movie.
Crush on Cap.
Yeah.
That's America's ass.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. I mean Steve. I mean Captain Steve America Rogers.
Yeah.
Ship it.
It's funny because I watched.
That one's you, Dave. I can't do that one.
You could honestly, I would think, if you actually watch back to back, Civil War, Infinity War, and then Endgame, it all holds up. And then same thing. So like and mind you, because they're all done by the Russo brothers, right? Especially like Winter Soldier as well. But like when you have when he first meets Captain America and he's like shaking his hand, he's like, I'm shaking your hand. I'm holding it like too long. Like, wow. And then he like looks at Wanda. He's like, oh, I know you too. You're great. And he's like feeling his arms. And he's like, like. It's like legit man crush. And I get it.
I remember.
I'm gonna be honest though. I feel like. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say. I remember after Endgame came out, and I have to go find the drawing again. But someone made like this really funny like comic strip that I saw on Facebook where like anytime Captain America was bending over, everybody was saluting.
It's because it's America's ass.
Everyone's like this.
You know, I really
Actually, sorry, just while we're talking about Captain America, the one scene that got me was the Hail Hydra. Like,
oh yeah.
Little nod, but it was just such a nice little nod for the thing. So
well, I mean, if you didn't like do any research, if you didn't like look up spoilers, which is so easy to do now, all the little things like from the Avengers assembling, like that shot from the Ancient One, that scene where he first of all the fight between the two Caps when he tells him, you know, Bucky's alive. Like again, it shows how he's evolved and he's gotten smarter. Yeah. And same thing, like he could have beaten everybody in that elevator just like he did in Winter Soldier, but instead he's like, nah, I'm just gonna like make it easy, Hail Hydra, and yeah, same thing. The audience I was in was like, what? Amazing, like just a good.
I thought it was kind of cool. They took that note from the comic book as well, because remember when the comic came out and when it was this Captain America saying Hail Hydra. It was like this, it was like the biggest thing like for the whole month. I was kind of happy they put that in the movie.
Yeah.
So
even like framed that scene similar to how the comic book was. He's not wearing the mask, but he's just like Hail Hydra.
It works so well. I just wish though that one of these two movies had a scene with Michael Peña's character.
Yeah. You know, Ant-Man 3, he has to go over everything that happened in Endgame.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Like imagine they bring back a bunch of people.
Like even if it was like a post-credit scene where he does it, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
It's funny though because like when Spider-Man shows back up after after they get everybody back from the snap, he like goes up to Iron Man and he's like, I was there and then I became dust, and then I was like, wait,
He kind of does it. Yeah, that's Michael Pena's bit for him.
Yeah, no, it's actually so true. And then even in Homecoming, they do the like the homage to like people they lost, you know, like to I will always love you or whatever it is. And it's like, so yeah, they have poked a lot of fun at it, but it would be so good. Like that's one of those things in was it in Ant-Man and the Wasp when Michael Pena he's going over things and then you see Paul Rudd speaking like the way that Michael Pena would, like, all right, bro, like, it'd be so good if they could get a bunch of like the Avengers to sort of reenact it, but say it exactly how he would describe it. That would be so good.
The world needs more Michael Pena. Let's be honest.
More Michael Pena.
I watched Fantasy Island.
I did too, actually. I didn't mind it.
Was it good?
It was alright.
It was alright. Like I watched it for free, and I was like, I don't feel any pain about watching this. If I paid for it,
honestly, it wasn't like Capone, where I'm like, I want those couple hours back. Like, no, it was a fun movie.
I'm still mad at you for I had to rent that.
Yeah.
That was really upsetting. Capone was terrible.
Well, that's one more time Capone has stolen money off somebody.
That's legit tax evasion.
Italian on Italian crime.
Okay, so real quick, favorite moments, one from Infinity War, one from Endgame.
All right, and then we'll do ginger snaps right after that. All right, so let's start off with Dwen.
Oh, Jesus, why do you always start with me?
Because we love you.
Actually, you know what? One moment, I don't know if it's my favorite moment, but it's a moment that I really liked was when Captain America and Thor are fighting side by side in Infinity War, and they turn around to each other, and they're like, "Oh, you cut your hair." He's like, "Oh yeah, you copied my beard." And then he's like, "Hey, this is Tree. This is my friend Tree." And Groot goes, "I am Groot." And Captain America goes, "I am Steve Rogers."
Damn it, that's actually my favorite moment too. Like,
it was so fast, and in the middle of a battle, and you're like, "Yes."
Yeah. So that for sure was one of my Infinity War moments that I really liked. And then I think in Endgame, I'm a big fan of just the character Nebula. Like, I love the whole thing with her and everything. And one of the things that I really enjoyed with her, it's not like funny or anything. And actually with both Nebula and Gamora.
Oh, Gamora.
And Gamora was just that. Well, no, Nebula, the moment I like with Nebula is where she's walking past Ant-Man and he's like, "Hey, that's good." And she goes, Rhodey, watch your landing. There's idiots here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I just like I also just really like that, like, there's a lot of they don't get a lot of screen time, but both those characters say a lot with what they get. So like Gamora's, like, through both Guardians movies, Infinity War, not so much Infinity War, I guess, but Infinity War and Endgame, you see it. Like, Thanos is horrible to the both of them. He has treated them badly, whatever, but they still see him as a father figure. Both times they kill him. Both of them kill him at one stage at some point in the movie, and are around him when he dies, and they both break down. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a little nice thing of just like, oh fuck, okay, like they'll just always see him as a father figure, no matter what, no matter how much he like tortures them or whatever.
Well, especially Nebula, like he especially tortures her.
Yeah.
I mean, he wiped out Gamora's family, but
like entire planet.
Because didn't they say that in, I think it was Guardians 1? Was it Guardians 1 or Guardians 2 when, Nebula and Gamora are having a talk, like they're fighting, talking, and she says, "You couldn't let me, like, every time I lost to you, he would make another part of me a machine."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, like that's horrible. Yeah. And then you don't see her again until Infinity War, and she's literally like, "I coming out, like, everything is being."
He's torturing her, basically.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, solid moments.
It just shows like the arc, or I guess like this whole transition and the complexity of Nebula's character in general in that one scene where Thor does cut his head off.
Yeah.
Right when he dies.
Yeah,
because like her relationship to Thanos is that of, he is obviously, her torturer and she is his prisoner, so to speak, but she still in many respects is her father. He still is her father, and it's just
it's almost like a twisted version of like Stockholm syndrome or something.
Totally.
Well,
that's wild.
Because even when Thor kills Thanos at the beginning of Endgame, but even before that, they call him out like, you're lying, and then even she has to say like, my father's a lot of things, but he's not a liar.
He's not a liar. Yeah.
And it's like it's almost like she's justifying him, and you're like, damn, like she could have easily just let them continue to beat him up or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he was clearly like done, like he was limping up the stairs. Like he was done in that movie, or at the beginning anyway. Anyway, kid.
Well, Dwen took my favorite part in Infinity War.
How dare you?
Damn you, Dwen.
Hi.
No, but I guess I'll just skip to Endgame. I think my favorite moment is when Nebula kills her old self, and that shows like the rebirth of her character, because you see this character grow in 2 movies in like a bit in Infinity War, but like in the beginning of Endgame when she's with Tony, and like they've been together for so long, like we don't know how long they've been in space. Like they're playing like a game together and whatnot. The football game, and like she's actually learning how to be human.
Yeah.
In a sense, right? So like I really appreciate the character development they gave Nebula in Endgame. So like my favorite moment in Endgame was when she kills her former self, her old self.
And she tries to even turn her old self, like trying to say like,
yeah, she was trying to save her, and then when she realized like, well, I just gotta get rid of it, right? So that would be my favorite moment in Endgame.
There was a scene in that where Quill sees her, like Star-Lord sees Gamora for the first time after she dies, and he's like,
oh man,
and he's like, he goes up to her and she like kicks him in the balls, and he's like, you missed the first time, but you got them both the second time, and she's like, really, this was the guy that I chose, and she's like, yeah, it was between him and a tree.
Was that him or the tree?
That's the only thing I will say that kind of sucks, is that you had all this buildup with 3 movies between Star-Lord and Gamora, from Guardians 1 and 2 to Infinity War, and then she's dead, and now it's like all of that is gone. So it's like you're going to get Guardians 3, and that might be the last one. So you might never see these characters again, and that movie's going to be about, okay, we got to basically cram 2 to 3 movies worth of like love interest into one movie. That's the only thing for me. That's it.
True.
It kind of sucks. Or they just leave it and they're like, nope.
Or I guess it depends also when it starts, right? Like they could be 10 years from now, whatever they decide to go, because we're already 5 years ahead apparently.
Or they just ignore it and go back to the way things were and pretend like nothing happened.
Now with this Marvel audience, man, you could do that in the 90s. Twitter and everything else will stop you from doing any of that. People get so mad about so much stuff, man.
Come on. All right, Josh, your 2 favorite moments.
2 favorite? That's so hard. Like, okay. So I might say a few. Like in the first one, obviously I loved that whole fight. You don't have
that kind of time.
But I love that whole fight on Titan with between Thanos and the Avengers, Guardians. Then, like, I'm sorry, when Doctor Strange did his thing, that was wicked. Sorry, like that was wicked. Emotional stuff, man. Or like, you know what? Even that moment, like, because I was never a big Captain America fan. Like comics, I could not care less about that character. I don't know, just didn't really say much. But he's become one of my favorite characters in the movies. Like, I'm sorry, when he first shows up, which is like however long into the movie, you know, and he just catches that spear. Like, that moment to me was just wicked. It is, again, it's not much happens, but it's just so empowering. But I would say, like, a moment I really loved, like Infinity War, would probably just be that it was kind of shocking when Thanos is finally on Earth and he's about to get the Mind Stone, and there's that whole emotion between Vision and Wanda, and then she kills him only to have Thanos reverse it.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because you knew, like, he's gonna get it, but you're like, whoa, oh, it's done. Like, how's he gonna do it? And then you totally forget that he has the Mind Stone, and he can just
Time Stone.
Time Stone.
the Time Stone, yeah, and he just reverses it like that. And for me, that was the moment I was like, oh no, like, didn't see it coming like the way it did.
Yeah.
Endgame, man, I love, you know, I'm sorry, when Cap says Avengers Assemble, that chills. Same with when he grabs the hammer. But it's like, I guess, so not just saying, because there were so many parts that I did love, but what I would have loved to see, because one of my favorite all-time fights in the movies is Winter Soldier, Cap versus Iron Man.
That was one of the best fights out of all the movies.
Yeah. It is one of the best fights. Emotional stakes, choreography, everything is beautiful in that. And I would have loved to see more Cap and Winter Soldier team up, because again, he hasn't seen he's lost his friend like twice already. So it would have been good I would have loved to just see the two of them team up a little bit.
Right.
And then that moment too at the end, like, but when Bucky knew that he wasn't coming back, Bucky knew, and that killed me, because I don't, Sebastian Stan, you haven't seen him besides maybe I, Tonya, you haven't seen him really do these crazy acting chops, but he said so much by saying very little when he's like gives him a hug, and he's like, throw back to the first Captain America 1 when he's like, you taking all the stupid with you, it's like, he's not saying a lot with his words, but just his expression, like he knew Cap wasn't coming back, and it was heartbreaking, but so good. So yeah.
Well, he like you said, he knew before he even left, right? And he sort of, because he's not even looking at, Hulk when the experiment is going on. He's just looking off into the distance because he knows he's just said goodbye. Yeah. And that's why he's like, he notices, Steve first out of everybody, because there's Sam freaking out saying, "Get him back, get him back."
Yeah, but he already he knew. Yeah,
he had already known. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was hard for me when I watched that. I was like, shoot, like, imagine just now he finally really gets to say goodbye to his best friend, where like before he never got that chance. It was just he dies off the train in Captain America 1, and then when he disappears in Infinity War, he's not even around. Was he around, Cap?
Yeah, he goes, Steve.
Yeah, he's like, Steve,
and he just falls.
Same thing, like he's just gone. So it's like he never had that.
Don't forget Winter Soldier when he saves him, and then he looks at him in the burning shield ship, and it blows up, right? Like that was like a small sign of Bucky getting his consciences back, like when he saves Captain America and stuff, right? So
the two of them just have been through a lot.
That relationship is really stressed on, just of how much loss goes on between the both of them, right?
If you look up brothers in arms in the dictionary, you see both of them. You see two pictures.
Well, I mean, like, if you look at it, right, like even in First Avenger, Captain America First Avenger, he technically loses Bucky twice. Right.
Because
that's what pushes him to really go into the military program, like the super soldier program, because, Bucky was declared MIA, missing in action. Right. Yeah. And then he meets up with him then, and then he loses Bucky again in the train crash.
To be honest, I love the Winter Soldier. Like that. I love
that movie. Was amazing.
I love the movie. It's
totally.
Probably my top. It's definitely my top 3. The Winter Soldier, like that movie.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones.
I also mean the character. I think Bucky became this great character to me. Sorry, what were you saying, Dwen?
Now, I think Winter Soldier is just like a great spy movie.
It is.
You know?
Oh yeah,
100%.
totally.
That was where they really pushed the boundaries of what the MCU, going from like a comic book movie to like they started making these genre movies.
Yeah.
You know, it was that, and then right after it was Guardians, and then it was Ant-Man with this like little bit of heist going on.
Yeah.
But it was Winter Soldier for me that I was like, yes.
I'm so glad
Like-
I randomly bought it at Best Buy because like I missed out on it in theaters. And then after I saw it, I was even more mad that I missed out on theaters watching it. I was like, this movie's amazing, and I didn't go to the theaters and watch it.
Oh, Dave, you just did it in theaters. It was the best.
I bet
I
it
think we
was.
can all agree, guys. Theaters was the only way to experience that
Yeah,
movie.
no, you.
DVD's
Dwayne, we
not
might have-
gonna cut it.
Once
I
we
remember-
you should rent out the theater at your building and just watch it.
Honestly, I remember I was that came out in 2014, and I
Yeah.
was judging in Toronto, and I was done early on a Friday, which rarely happens when you're judging, and I think I was done, let's say 8:30, and there was like a 10 o'clock showing of Winter Soldier, like downtown at the Paramount or Scotiabank Theater, whatever, and I like ran to my hotel, got changed, and I was like, for whatever reason, I was like, this movie just looked too good, and I had to go see it. And man, that was one of those movies that when it ended, I was like, no, that can't be it. There has to be more. Like, because remember in the trailers, it's like, in the trailers they showed the actual final scene with Sam saying like, I'm with you, like wherever we're going or whatever.
Right.
And that's literally like the final scene, and I was like, no, like there has to be more. I want to see them go to Europe or wherever.
I think
You will soon.
I think what would have been cool, like if Marvel had the X-Men license, it would have been so awesome to see Logan in Captain America 1, because like in the actual lore, he does fight with Captain, like he does join the World War. Because I remember one of the earlier Avengers cartoons, I think it was Avengers Assemble, or Avengers Earth's Mightiest Warriors, and they had like these 15-minute clips before the actual show came out. So one of the clips was like it was a Captain America one, and this is like when they used like 1950s Bucky, so it was like the Robin Bucky, like to call him.
Yeah.
So like Captain America had this crew, right? And everybody was in the light except for Logan. You just see like a silhouette of his face, and you see the hair, and it's like, oh shit, they actually put like Wolverine, like
Well,
in Captain America's crew.
Yeah.
Didn't they have an episode of X-Men?
Yes,
like
they did.
The old
Season
90s.
five.
Yeah,
Season 5, right?
They did a
And-
bunch of those crossovers too,
but
though. I mean,
they
that
but-
series had like, you know, Spider-Man in it, and the X-Men, or vice versa, where the X-Men were in one of the Spider-Man episodes and all that stuff. So they always did those.
Cartoons were always big on crossovers.
Yeah, they crossed over all the time, right?
But
I mean,
no, they had only crossed over with Spider-Man because at the time those two shows were so big. But it was the first. That was the only episode where they had someone else. Like besides, I think when they talked about Rogue getting Miss Marvel's powers.
yeah,
No,
but-
it was season 5. I actually have the DVD.
Yeah, it was like the last
It was season 5, and Wolverine talks about like his height, like him working with Captain America, and it was like a whole episode of him and Captain America. Like Wolverine didn't even have the claws yet, right?
But
like
didn't
he had
they
like
call him something? They
I forgot
called
what they- I
Logan
forgot-
something like Lucky James or something, like because he couldn't die. Didn't they?
Something-
They had a
something
nickname
like
for him
that.
or something like that, right?
anyways.
Joey.
Yeah,
You're
going off
yeah,
topic.
Joe's.
We'll talk more about this later, Josh.
Yes. Joe's wondering how the hell he was gonna contain 6 hours worth of movie into an hour conversation.
Surprise.
And we're going on about cartoons
Yeah.
now. We're not
Yeah.
even talking about the movies anymore. My two favorite moments were actually involving Thor and the Guardians.
Right.
Both of those moments, because it's just those interactions between him and Quill are just so funny. Because it's definitely Quill trying to, you know, match up.
No, you are not.
To someone who's
taking my
obviously a god.
I mean, yes, you're a dude this is a man.
he's
Yeah.
like a god from a god had made love to a space angel, and that's what came out.
No, it's like an angel made love to like a pirate or something. A space pirate.
A space pirate. A god space pirate. Oh, the space pirate god.
I have to say, man, the one thing Guardians did that opened up so much of these kind of things was they were like, well, maybe we can make Thor a comedy. Like Ragnarok.
Oh, totally.
Right? And then Ragnarok opened up into this like amazing thing where you're like, oh shit, these guys could totally, they play off each other so well. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so
Well,
unpopular opinion.
Uh-oh.
I'll say it. I have one.
Uh-oh.
I did not like like I thought it was funny, watching it, but the final talk between Quill and Thor in Endgame, when it's like the whole power struggle, when it's like, it's my ship. Thor literally just gave over his kingdom to Valkyrie. I know they did it for comedic purposes, but it would have been good where Thor was like, just shook his hand and was like, it is your ship. And he took a step back.
But he does say that.
Yeah, he's like, of course this is your ship.
No, but he's clearly like,
He's being sarcastic. He's like, nope, I run this place.
Yeah.
But no, it's your
ship,
being
but
Thor.
He's being Thor, but literally he just said to Valkyrie, like, I'm not a leader. Like, you are a leader. So, I mean, he was doing it to kind of mess with Quill. Like, that was the whole purpose of it.
But I think that's why I liked it so much.
And I totally get why people like it, and I laughed in the theater. I thought it was funny, and the two of them playing off each other just makes me want to see an As Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Did the guy in front of you laugh?
I was about to ask that too.
It was like,
I'm pretty sure
my head, Dwen.
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, that's the only time. That's
That was
the
in
only
the
time in the
comics.
movie that he didn't laugh.
Yeah, like
He's
that.
oh,
That joke's played out, sir.
he's
Yeah, he actually
this
booed.
Is not good. Are you sure you're just not describing yourself and just saying it's someone else?
I'm pretty sure they mic'd him and they made his laugh in stereo. It was weird.
Like, honestly, I think it's actually in the original, edit of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a laugh track.
There's a laugh track in the movie. Yeah,
It's an option on Disney Plus. You can watch the movie with the laugh track. It's fantastic.
it's like watching those old '90s sitcoms, like a Seinfeld or Friends. There's a laugh track where
Or
you're
The
supposed to
Big
laugh,
Bang Theory.
or The Big Bang Theory.
Actually, if you do, I did notice on Disney Plus this week that they have the director's audio for Endgame. I don't know for Infinity War, but they had it for Endgame. And I was like, could I watch this again for another 3 hours? We'll get back to you.
Watch it at half speed too.
Yeah.
So, friends, let's move on. We have now come to the time in the show where we rate these movies out of 5 ginger snaps. So let's start with our delightful guests.
Delightful.
Delightful. Ooh. So since we, started with Dwen on the last topic, we'll start off with Dave. Dwave.
Wave.
Confused.
I like it.
Yeah.
So
Wade's doing a jive.
Dwayne, we're going on all kinds of tangents. I love it. So Dave, what do you give? How many ginger snaps do you give this movie? These movies.
Oh, all together?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I would say I would give Infinity War 4 Arnold heads.
Bringing it back to Arnold heads.
Yes.
That's a reference from Dave's episode.
Yeah.
That
I figured as much.
I'll give it 4 Arnold heads out of 5, and I'll give
or
and I'll give Endgame a perfect Arnold head.
Ooh.
Just one.
Just
It's one, but it's
golden,
perfect.
one's golden, perfect Arnold head.
It's like his head is like a golden aura, like behind it.
it's like got in Infinity
Actually, like
Stones
angel wings
encrusted
coming out
Yeah.
his head.
I'll add the remember the PIG I gave you, the picture of just his head. I'll add angel wings on his
Had a halo and wings. Like
things behind the ears.
That's so creepy, man. It's a giant, a floating Arnold head just floating around. It's like, no. So yes, that's my score.
Pretty
All
solid.
right. In one perfect, pristine Arnold head for Endgame.
I don't know if I want the end game to be Arnold's head, but okay, sure.
Just replace all the characters' faces with
Yeah.
Arnold's.
It's amazing.
Oh,
Arnold Schwarzenegger head.
The T-800 just show.
What if Arnold was playing Thanos? I think if this movie was made in the 90s, Arnold might have been Thanos.
They just take the clips from the Batman and Robin
The
movie
eye.
where he's Iceman, but they just Photoshop Thanos' face on him.
Imagine he has the gauntlet. Chill.
Poorly Photoshopped. Chill.
Oh, amazing.
I
So-
see
The
you.
Ice Age.
nice to see you.
What
so,
killed the
Dwenny,
dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
so, Dwenny, what do you rate this movie? These two
Uh,
movies?
I'll give Infinity War 5 Infinity Stones out of 5.
Ooh.
Only because, again, that I think when that movie, before it came out, everyone was like, how are they going to pack all these characters in one movie? And they were just like, well, we are making it a Thanos movie. Fuck you. Right?
We didn't even do
Yeah.
Since there's 6 stones, just make it 6 out of 6.
All right, fine. 6 out of 6. Jesus. I'll give the next one a 5 out of 6 because it didn't answer one question. If it didn't answer one question, I could be complete a full 6 out of 6 if it gives a one question. Do you think Steve Rogers, when he went back to Peggy, told her that he made out with her great granddaughter?
Oh shit!
I think it was her niece.
I think it was just her regular granddaughter.
just
but
her
you're
granddaughter. Yeah, okay.
It was her niece.
Yeah, oh, whatever.
She was-
You think he
Still.
told her?
Still.
Or did
You
he
mean-
compare?
This guy
Yeah.
had sex with the whole family.
I'm
God
making, making out. He's like, you know what? Sharon's better. Like,
So if you can answer me that one question, full 6-6. We're good.
he time
I
time
told
travels
you, Josh,
back
that he was
to the
messing with the timeline. I said it.
he
Shouldn't
time
have done that.
travels back, brings Sharon back to the past, compares.
Also,
Are you suggesting he has a three-way with Peggy and her granddaughter?
What were you gonna say, Dwen?
if you were the Winter Soldier, right, and you're like, I knew he was gonna go back, and I knew he was gonna stay, and all this stuff, and I knew he was gonna show up at that bench, do you think you're just gonna be like, why didn't I get the shield? Why'd you give it to this guy? He already has wings.
No, but you know what?
We're
He also,
good.
you know what? I was thinking about that too, and it's like the thing is, Bucky is still he's not fully redeemed yet. Like that's his problem. Like when he in Civil War, he's like, "Am I worth all this right now?" And that's when Cap like reverses and he's like, "I'm with you to the end of the line," or whatever. It's like I think Bucky knew, and that's obviously they're gonna probably tackle that in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series, but I don't know.
That's more of a joke than anything, but it was
Hilarious.
thank you. The guy in the front row thinks so.
All right, Josh, what do you rate these two movies?
Oh, 1 out of 12. No.
One
Well, if you-
building Arnold head.
One,
He wa-
just-
the
just
first
one
30
Arnold
the
lip.
first 30 minutes as he watched them in those increments.
No, honestly, I think so. Okay, let's do Infinity Stones. I will give Infinity War. I'd go 6. Like, it blew me away start to finish. Although it's funny, like I loved it a lot, but when people are like surprised when or like sad when Spider-Man died, Black Panther, when they all got dusted, I'm like, yo, they all have movies coming out. they're coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to sound heartless, but I was like, no, they'll be
No,
fine.
I said the same thing too. I'm like, wait, there's
I was
another
like,
Spider-Man movie coming.
I was sad, and I was sad when it happened, and I'm just like, I know there's more movies coming out, but this still sucks.
Like, it still sucks.
Oh no, they pulled on the heartstrings really hard on those scenes.
And
for sure.
so Endgame, I would give 5 out of 6, just like I said, for the pacing issues. But like, come on, Cap with Thor's hammer.
But you had Laughing Guy in front of you. That's why
America's
it's a
ass.
issue. Because when I saw Endgame, I didn't even notice the 3 hours.
Yeah, it moved fast for me too.
Yeah, like I was like, bam, I was like, blue.
The only time, like, Joey and I have talked about this, the time it slows down for me is during the time travel stuff. And I think specifically when they go back again. Like, it's still a great moment, you know, Tony getting to talk to his dad, and then Cap seeing Peggy. Like, it's all stuff that the characters needed to happen. Like, Tony needed to talk to his dad because that's been such a big part of his character through, you know, however many movies. And Cap, he always wanted that last dance with Peggy. So they needed that moment, but I felt like it just went on a little too long. That's all. I'm not saying it was bad, because they were great moments and, like, really well done. But I think just as pacing, it just slowed down a lot for me.
So the Infinity Stone you won't give it is time.
Oh,
nice.
Boom.
Nice.
Boom. Okay, so I guess it's my turn, huh?
Maybe.
So with Infinity War, I am gonna give it a 5 ginger snaps, 20 pristine Arnold heads, and
20 pristine.
I'm just saying all kinds of
they
things.
Are
now.
polished.
with a spit shine. Because the reality is that, you know, in Infinity War, in Infinity War is just like, it is a nonstop, action-packed, full-on roller coaster.
Yeah.
Where you do have those ebbs and flows, and they do tug at your emotions in certain aspects. And the difference is, now with Endgame, I'm again going to give it a 5, because it felt like something was missing. I'm just not sure, like a 5 out of 6, right? It's something felt like you wanted a little bit more in terms of certain aspects and certain things. And, you know, for whatever reason, you don't get it, or you feel like there could have been something else that could have been said. And yes, it was a 3-hour movie, and they did pack a lot into it. So it just goes to show how much more there is to pack into Endgame. And other than that, I mean, I think these movies are both, like, extremely fun and just a joy to really just sit down and watch.
Yeah.
Even when you have, you know, Laffy McGee sitting in front of you.
It'd be kind of cool if they did release, like, an Ultimate Edition, just the two of them, maybe add a couple scenes or something where it could literally just flow one movie into the next. Like, it'd be kind of cool.
I also think it's kind of amazing to think that you have these two movies, which are 6 hours in total, and still, like Joe said, like at the end of it, you're still kind of like, oh, I wish I could have a little more of something, because it's missing something. Considering there are 20 movies before that to get to that point, that's kind of amazing that you haven't gotten to that point going, all right, we know you were in Budapest. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice that you can get to that stage and be like, well, they've done some good work to get you here.
Yeah, it was like they did moments where it still didn't feel forced.
Yeah.
Or like or like the joke was overdone. I mean, except for maybe Fat Thor, in my opinion. But no, it's true. You're saying Budapest, but then we talked about Cap saying like, I can do this all day. It's like, I know, they are twisting it a bit to make it still fresh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're coming to the end of the program. So let's start off with Dave. Where can our friends and audience find your stuff if you want to share?
They can find me on Instagram, the kid 36, one word. They can also find my gaming video stuff at Old Man Games, one word, on YouTube. What else do I do? I have a Twitter, the _ kid 36, and yeah, what else do I have?
I don't know, Dave. You tell us.
I'm trying to figure out. I got too much.
Do you have an OnlyFans?
I no. If I was female Dave, I would have an OnlyFans. I look too sexy in that picture. I'm sorry.
Wait.
Joe kept hitting on me. Joe, stop it.
You're his wallpaper on his computer now.
I know.
I was gonna make that my background, actually.
I didn't you?
It's this kid like.
We'd have to put a mature rating on this, Dave, and we made that his background.
Dwayne, where can everybody find your
Like I said before, on my last episode, Dwenny draws stuff. DWENIE draws stuff. One word, sorry, and that's pretty much it. One letter.
You have to move your head like that while you're typing.
That's the only way it works. That's look what I'm typing. This is it works.
You gotta whip your hair back and forth like
Damn
Willow Smith. And Josh.
Joe with the timely references.
Oh,
No. That's nope.
I'm getting closer to current
stuff.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll get it close. As the youths say. And Dwen, where can I find our stuff? Not Dwen, more like Josh. I'm so confused right now.
You look
Josh, you just
nothing
got
alike.
fired.
I don't even know what day. What day?
Why am I
is it?
fired? He messed up.
Because he replaced you with Dwen.
Oh snap!
So I'm sorry. that was I don't know. Like,
So our lovely
that was a
listeners,
jump
you
back
guys.
to the old days, wasn't it, Dwen?
Hey, you jumped in a time machine apparently.
I think so.
So our listeners here, you can find us at GingerFlixPod for Instagram. That's one word. You can find us at FlixPod on Twitter, and you can find us at GingerFlixPod or GingerFlix on Instagram. YouTube. On YouTube. Remember, Flix is always spelled with that X.
Dwen, where can they find them again?
Sorry, I meant to write it down on my hand. I just
Find them on X videos.
Pornhub.
Oh boy. I didn't say triple X.
You only need one, Josh.
Not Vin Diesel.
Or Ice Cube.
Oh, snap.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you for listening, and we'll hear from you and see you again soon.
Good night.
Good night.
Booyah.
Booyaka.